We're glad to have you back. And now we are going to be looking at issues surrounding the downstream of Nigeria's petroleum sector. There's been back and forth issues around pricing, issues around a lot of developments, even issues. Even very recently, we heard the chairman of Dangote Group talking about a particular cabal in that industry. But let's go straight to that discussion. I have Mr. Olufemi Adebayo Adewale is live in the studio. He is the Executive Secretary, DAPPMAN and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, DAPPMAN. It's good to have you live in our studio for this conversation.
Good afternoon, Tolu, and thanks for having me here.
Yeah, great, really great to have you. I think we should start our conversation with issues around pricing of petroleum products and challenges of depot ownership at this time. You know, sometimes when I read and I go through what's been happening, I try to wonder how business has been all the while.
Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to come on board. Pricing of petroleum products is actually largely determined by the feedstock price of the crude, which the refineries do refine. Dovetailing from this, you have the refinery production costs, their margins, and it goes on to the logistics costs and the margins. It goes on to the retailing cost, the depot storage cost, and the retailing cost. All this put together are what build up into the price which the customer buys at the last mile, which is at the retail station. So, largely, or cutting through these segments, efficiency of any operator determines how competitive the customer, the marketer is. So this helps us, we who are in the sector, to ensure that we give the customer the best price possible by being efficient. And that is what we preach in DAPPMAN. For depot operations, yes, times are tough. Depots are aging, equipment are aging, and the cost of replacing all this equipment are quite humongous. But we're trudging on. For instance, for any depot owner, you want to get the standard volume, which is about 20 KT. I mean, for economies of scale, you need you have an exposure of about 20 billion plus, as at today's parameters. Nobody has 20 billion kept somewhere waiting to use to buy PMS or anything. So we go to the bank and we add our own equity. The costs that we're adding, I mean, the cost we're getting from the bank is financed, and it is on at a cost. I mean, the funds we're getting from the bank is at a cost to us. So all this put together add to the price that we're going to sell to the customer. But be that as it may, we're trudging on to make sure that we give the customers, Nigerians, in all nooks and crannies, the best price, cheapest price for the quality of product that they deserve.
I would ask you that, are there concerns of possible monopoly in the downstream of petroleum sector? You will know that I'm going to ask that question, because even, you know, the issue of the ban on importation has also brought up that to the fore. Do we have, let me ask you that first, monopoly, before I move to other issues around that?
It's a clear, it's what we can term as a clear and present danger. We've been talking about it, we've been deliberating about it. Right now we have a refinery, a 650,000 barrel capacity refinery. This price, this volume alone, this capacity alone, gives the refinery the edge over all others. It can manipulate prices, it can dictate prices, it can get what it wants. So it's a clear and present danger for us, and we would rather not have it that way. But the beautiful thing is that we have the regulators who have been doing fantastically since they came on board. They are checkmating to ensure that no organization deviates from the provisions of the PIA, which ensures that it's a free market and many players are able to come in and play in the system, and anything that goes towards monopoly is checkmated. For instance, you should also have recently FCCPC, the commission that protects the consumers. You will recall that Dangote recently took NMDPRA and a few other marketers to court. This tells you the mindset, and what they were challenging is actually the authority of the regulator, which is enshrined in the PIA to release import licenses for marketers to import fuel. So it gives you a picture into their mindset. So the fear of monopoly is real. And we are working with other stakeholders to make sure this is not realized. And we are working with the regulators, encouraging them to do their work so that this is curtailed, nipped in the bud.
I saw a news recently where the chairman of the Dangote refinery, of course, talked about a certain cabal controlling the industry. That's really is very, very topical. Yes, it is topical. Now, in straight terms, my question to you really would be in two folds. Do you think that his refinery, that Dangote refinery, can supply our daily needs? I think the last I checked when I spoke to Petroleum President, he talked about 46 million liters or around about that. Can that refinery supply that on a daily basis? And that's one. And on the other side, can we stop importing petroleum products at this time?
Okay, those are three questions now. The cabal.
Yes.
One, there is no cabal, as far as I'm concerned, because going by the English definition of the word cabal, it's a negative, subversive clique. There's no cabal. But I can tell you that we have vested interests. My principals have vested interest in the sector. So if they have invested over these years billions of naira and they have bridged the gap and they have been there even before Dangote, they were there when nobody was there to bridge the gap and ensure Nigerians get fuel. Yes, definitely they should have commensurate returns on their investment. So on that, I would say there is no cabal, but there are vested interests. On the, what's the second question?
The issue of capacity to meet up. Yes.
This is not we speaking now. This is me quoting the authority chief executive. In his recent presentation at the Villa, he stated that Dangote refinery is not meeting up to even the reduced local consumption volume. So for now, Dangote refinery cannot meet up. And if you recall that data, it is we, depot owner, private depot owners, that have been doing the work and bridging the gap and meeting the needs of Nigerians. So we will continue to do that. The third part of your question is whether
stopping importation.
Stopping importation. You stop importation today, you're definitely creating chaos in the country.
Of course.
You can't stop importation today, by all means. You cannot stop importation because you create monopoly, you create chaos. Now, but I'm not saying it cannot be stopped. We can look forward to it as a phased project that can be done in future. But before you do that, you must ensure that there is adequate local production, and not just from one source. They must be from several sources. All the refineries that have been given, all the prospects that have been given the letter to construct should be encouraged to complete their project. So when they complete their project, you have several sources of product for depot owners or any other marketer to pick your product from and sell to the public. Then FCCPC and NMDPRA, they've been doing a good job, but they have to continue to do their job so that they ensure that there is a level playing field for everybody in the system. So you can't stop importation now, but it's something that can be thought of as a long-term project and in phases.
That sounds good. I remember that when we were talking about the PIA before now, many talked about competition. It would, allow for a level playing field for everyone to be able to participate. Now, do we have that space for level playing ground at the moment, for competition, considering the provisions of the PIA?
We have the space, and the competition is there. We will continue to encourage other people to come into the space. The refineries, like I mentioned earlier, that NMDPRA has licensed, quite a number of them have actually been given the letters to operate, so they are already operating. Those who have not come on board, we're looking up to them to complete their refinery so that they can come on board. This space is wide, actually, for more entries. So the space for competition is there, and we expect more people to come in.
Like you said in your first submission, I know that depot owners have invested so much in this industry. I remember long ago when I spoke to one of the depot owners, and he talked about the kind of investment that has been put into this. Now, again, your position with regards to buying made in Nigeria products is where I want us to go back to, because this is very important and government is talking about it. Now, if that happens again, I'm still wondering, if we cannot produce that much in-house, in-country, and we are not bringing in, then two things might happen. There might be hike in price and there might be scarcity. And if that happens, Nigerians would not like it. So if you are to advise government with regards to what should be done with regards to this petroleum products or reducing production, in-country production, what would you be saying?
In-country production should be ramped up because we need to have more sources of getting the product. It is not the primary will for depot owners to import. We will rather buy from Dangote Refinery and sell to Nigerians, but we're not getting the opportunity to pick from Dangote Refinery. Dangote Refinery prefers a selective approach that it picks a few marketers and deals through them. And it works, it prefers the gantry supply. But we are depot owners. We pick in bulk. We pick in 20, 30, 15, 10, 15, 20, 30, 25,000 metric tons. So if their portal is open and we are allowed to load our vessels, then it's a lot easier for us. We want a situation in which we can load from Dangote Refinery. We have depots in Calabar, we have depots in Port Harcourt that are members of DAPPMAN, we have depots in Ogara, we have depots all over the country, spread all over the coastal areas. So all these depots are ready and willing to pick from Dangote, but is Dangote ready and willing? We've had several meetings with Dangote to the highest level of their management. We're still talking with them, so it's not yet closed. But we want a situation in which we can pick from Dangote at the best possible price without being shortchanged. There have been some price slashes which occurred recently. Yes. Now, the price given to depot owners for marine cargoes, the penultimate one, the price for our own landing cost at our depot was 40 naira higher than what he's selling at the gantry. The one that came after that was 25 naira more than what he's selling at the gantry. It's already a loss even before we pick the product. Of course, it's already a loss. And we have instances in which our members pick cargo, and the moment the cargo left the jetty, the prices were slashed. I mean, we bore the brunt, and we've been bearing the brunt. We didn't come out to make noise to Nigerians that this is what is happening, because on the aggregate, we want to make sure that we are sustainable and we are profitable in our business. So when you have instances in which marketers would rather import than pick from Dangote, those are the things that informed it.
Indeed, and that's where my issue of pricing again comes in, because many would tell you that in some cases, now I'm not quoting anybody, I'm not quoting that man, but I've heard in many cases that some marketers have even told me, even some DAPPMAN members have told me that sometimes they even get imported products sometimes in some ways cheaper than what they get in country. Just like many would say some made in Nigeria products, the foreign ones are cheaper than what they get in country. When that happens, where do we stand as consumers, we consumers?
The aim of my constituency, which is DAPPMAN, is to give the customers the product in all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria and ensure we give them the quality product at the best price. And wherever we can source the product, we will get it for them. The beautiful thing is that PIA allows us to import. When people argue that why are you importing, why are you not patronizing the local refinery, we want to patronize the local refinery, but is the local refinery willing to give us the product? So if we get it import cargoes at a cheaper rate, we will bring it in and sell to Nigerians at the cheaper rate. But you see, like I always tell people, we know that when there is a price, we know that when we go to them and we don't get it, and we have options of bringing in a product at a cheaper rate, then expect a price slash to shortchange those who are bringing in the product. All this we know, but we are in for the long haul. But we are ready, willing. It's our pride that Dangote Refinery is up and running. We want to work with Dangote Refinery. But we are also not going to keep losing money, because the bottom line is, it is when we are in business, and we have the funds that we can serve Nigerians.
Yes. Yes, that's really, it's really a very serious one, because when you consider all of this that we've identified, well, moving forward, I'm still thinking. Now, you talked about ramping up production, all of these other refineries, the modular refineries and all of that. Are we making progress with regards to those? Now, what about the NNPC refineries? At the point, too, we also heard, I know you're not speaking for NNPC, but I know that at the time we heard that SOMAT started production. DAPPMAN, have you been able to get supplies maybe sometimes from that? I'm going to
base my response on the facts and figures from the authority chief executive.
Please do.
From what he said, the NNPC refinery, both the revamped Port Harcourt and the Warri, they are not yet optimally producing PMS. They are producing strict run, naphtha, and so on and so forth. So our members will not go to them for now. But where we can get the product is Dangote Refinery, and we are willing to work with Dangote Refinery. We are willing to buy from Dangote Refinery. But if we don't get the product from Dangote Refinery, the beautiful thing is that the PIA allows us to import, and then we'll go for imports.
You go for imports. Well, let's see how all of this plays out. What's your outlook for the entire industry? Let me ask you, considering the crude oil market, you saw when I was talking about the crude oil prices earlier, and there's been this flip-flop in that market in recent times, no thanks to Donald Trump and what's been happening in the United States. But if that continues to happen, my worry is about the budget.
The budget was premised on $75 revenue and a volume of 2.06 million barrels per day production level. For these two key components, we're already below par. The next thing is, what do we do? Government has to be proactive and pragmatic in taking the decision to probably tinker with the budget and realign their priorities and their programs so that whatever shortfall is experienced, because it's going to affect forex earnings, it's going to affect development projects, it's going to affect quite a number of things. So government has to tinker with the budget and with their programs and ensure that whatever they are doing, their programs are prioritized. The ones that will impact the people easily and fast are the ones that they focus on. While it is possible that government decides to go ahead and borrow more money, but the inflationary tendency for that, impact of that, should be also reviewed.
Because if that happens, it might affect our revenue. Finally, if we wrap up production and we do more of production, just like the federal government is saying they should, increase production and all of that, that might help us meet up in some way.
It definitely will help us meet up. But until that is done, we have to take action so that the shortfall can be managed. The shortfall in revenue to the government can be managed. But there are programs that are priority to the government. There are programs that are probably secondary or, that kind of a thing. So the ones that are primary, the ones that will impact the people, let the government face that one. Because there's no way that they will not have to tinker with the budget.
One way
because
or the other.
It is either you tinker with the budget or you go ahead and borrow.
I must thank you so much. Let me leave it at that for today. I've been speaking to Mr. Olufemi Adebayo Adewale. He's Executive Secretary, Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, DAPPMAN. We'll see how all of this plays out. What we want at the end of the day is availability, good pricing, and of course, products everywhere across the country. And everybody, you are in business and at least you must make profit. And we as Nigerians, we want the best price. That's what we want. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's